Hmm, that's one way to do it. All right. Well, let's start at the beginning. So I think we've been seeing a lot of Hela lately, and I don't think she's nearly as strong as she was in the alpha. I know a lot of people still saying Hela's busted, but I don't know. The damage fall off really did hurt her a bit, and her cooldowns are all quite a bit longer than they used to be. Um, Still think she's very good, just not quite as strong as she used to be. I'm gonna put her in the top of A for now. We'll see. Oh, also, you might all notice there's no F tier, because frankly, I don't think there are any characters that are F tier right now. Every single character is pretty competitively viable. Some of them are just numbers wise a little bit behind. And I kind of reserve F tier for characters whose fundamental design just isn't working. Um, Black Panther, really tanky for a dive character. Probably the tankiest DPS right now, other than maybe Magic. But I think I'm gonna put him tentatively in the B tier. He can get kills really well, and I think in isolation of his team up is better than Spider-Man. But his team up with Magic is kind of lackluster. So I wouldn't be putting a lot of weight into that. Groot. All right. Um, yeah, I've been seeing a lot of Groot. Against some characters, he's really hard to beat, but his wall health being so low means that against really high damage compositions, especially your Magneto Venom teams, you can absolutely shred his walls. You're not going to get a lot of value from that. So I'm going to put him in A tier. But this is situational. I think some teams are going to dominate against a Groot, and some teams are going to lose terribly. um, Magic is going to be another A tier character, maybe above Groot, but below Hela. Um, it's so hard to kill a good Magic. Uh, you just have to keep hitting them until they leave you alone. But I think she gets a lot of value just for free out of her kit, and is one of the few dive characters that can honestly take on more than one character at a time. So our first support here, or strategist, Luna Snow. As far as other strategists go, she's kind of I want to say basic. She kind of has all the abilities, but doesn't do necessarily any of them better than any of the other strategists. She has okay healing. She's got an okay skill shot CC. Uh, she's sometimes fast, but sometimes not. It's weird. Her skating ability makes her pretty fast, like Mantis is, but it doesn't work backwards, and it takes a while to start happening, right? And she doesn't have as good damage as Mantis does. Her healing's not as good as Jeff's is, and her CC is not as good as Mantis or, frankly, some other non-support characters. Um, so I want to put her in B tier. I think, though, in the right team composition, she could even be S tier, but it really depends. Iron Man, I think his changes moving into beta really pushed him, like really pushed him. Um, his poke game might be the best right now with how big his rockets are, and his Unibeam gives him almost better than Punisher's DPS. Um, I think he might be the top of our A tier right now. Venom, S tier. Next. Uh, kidding. But no, Venom is probably the best tank in the game right now. pretty much impossible to kill if he's timing his cooldowns well. Um, the overshield doesn't give you alt charge, so if he pops that and you keep shooting him, he's going to beat you in the alt rotation. Um, I find this a lot with Penny into Venom matchups, um, because Penny gives the enemy team a bunch of free alt charge because of the way that she tanks, and Venom negates a ton of alt charge. Your Venom Magneto and your Venom Doctor Strange teams are going to be the majority of your competitive makeup. Spider-Man. This is a tough one because I've seen a lot of really bad Spider-Mans, but there's also a lot of people that are pretty good at getting those kills. But he's really hit or miss, and if he has his team up, he can be really strong. He has a one-shot combo with the team up, but outside of that, it's a lot of work to get him to get a lot of value. So I think I'm gonna put him right in B tier, right below Black Panther. Now Magneto, very similar situation to Spider-Man, but better in a way. His shield gives him a ton of value. His Scarlet Witch team up makes him unstoppable damage wise. I think he might be the highest damage tank in the game right now. And I think just because of that, he works really well with Venom teams. So I'm going to put him up in S tier right now. But without his team up, he's probably down here. Like that team up makes or breaks the character. So maybe I shouldn't put him up there. All right, I'm going to put him in A tier, right above Groot. Uh, actually, right above Hela. Okay, Scarlet Witch, C tier. Now, she gives Magneto a ton of value. Her alt's terrible. Gets CC'd by just about every character in the game, and you can just kill her before it pops off. Um, she's got a crazy good stun, but outside of that, her damage doesn't have a ton of range. It's alright damage, but she can be outdamaged by pretty much every other damage character in the game. The Bolt gets a lot of value, but a lot of other characters just outpace her pretty intensely. Now, this might be a hot take that I think she's so low, but she's just not that good right now. um, I think in the right team composition, she will see competitive play just because of how good Magneto is and their team up. But I think she has more value on the team through Magneto's team up than she actually gets as her own character. Now, Penny, my character. Um, yeah, I think she's going in C tier, maybe above Scarlet Witch, but she gets a ton of value from the stun. If your team's playing well, she can hold off a choke point like no one's business and just slaughter everyone. But outside of her mines, which have a lot of play around against smart players, um, she just doesn't get a lot of damage. And she's not going to get a lot of kills on her own very well, unless, again, you pull off some crazy combos with those mines. I think she can be very good, but right now, as it stands, most players are not going to get a lot of value with her. Star-Lord. This is crazy, but I think Star-Lord is better than Hela. Now, it used to be that Hela and Punisher were the best hit scan characters in the game. I think Star-Lord's better. Yeah, he's just faster. He has a ton of speed. He works really well in these brawl compositions, and his team up with Adam makes it the most annoying team in the game to fight ever. It's insane. All right, Namor's going in S tier. He's just he has the highest DPS in the game right now for burst damage with those turrets and with his command. He has pretty decent survivability with that aura, but you have. All right. Yeah, Namor's He's pretty strong right now. Um, One headshot and a few turrets, and you're gonna burst out any squishy in the game. And he has insane range too. You just got to get good at aiming that projectile. Um, Adam, I think in the right team, he's gonna be pretty strong. Actually, I think he might be S tier as well right now. That full team res is insane. Um, he just makes his entire team almost impossible to kill unless you manage to kill him first twice. Like you have to kill him twice to kill him, right? Um, so it makes it really hard to win the team fight. Hulk's D tier. He hits like a wet noodle. I'm sorry. He's the weakest character in the game by a lot right now. Um, it's not really much of a competition either. Um, I wish he could be better. Uh, I'd say even maybe give him a damage scaling ability, like an anchor meter, where whenever his shield takes damage, he can hit a little harder. But right now, he's just a wet noodle. Punisher's S tier. I don't think I need to say any more about this. He's been top of the game for a really long time. Actually, I think Adam's above Namor. Um, he's been top of the game for a really long time. There's not much else to say about that. Um, Everything he does is better than everyone else. He's absurdly strong. And if he doesn't get nerfed again, I will be very surprised. Previously, I think Storm would have been pretty low, but she got a lot better because of Thor. I still think she's going to be in B tier though. She's really strong and has a very strong ult rotation, but I just think she is too slow right now. If she was a bit faster, like movement speed wise, like if her movement speed boost was a little higher, I think she'd be really effective. But as it stands right now, it's just too easy to snipe her out of the air. Loki's going in C tier. Probably the worst support in the game right now. Um, which, I mean, the worst support in the game being in C tier is pretty impressive, but he's just doesn't do a whole lot unless you're really popping off. But if they know to shoot your beacons and they know to shoot your clones, you're not going to get a lot of value off of him. Um, Strange. I'm going to put Strange in B tier, but top of B tier. He's good, but I think there's a I think Magneto does what he does better. Magneto has a better shield, faster shield, and more damage. Groot's walls do a lot more utility. I think Strange just, he's good. His teleport is really effective sometimes at some points of the game. I think in niche situations, you'll switch to him in overtime to use that uh, portal to get onto point faster, but outside of that, I don't think he's that good. He's still good, but he's not as busted as some of the other tanks are. I think Mantis is going right up next to Adam. For a support, her damage is insane. Her healing is not the highest, but that's okay. I think her healing not being the highest is sort of made up for with the insane damage boost and the insane damage. Because, fun fact, you don't have to heal your teammates if the enemy's already dead. Rocket. He's got to team up with Groot and with Punisher, and that gives him a lot of value. So I think I'm going to have to put him in A tier as well, just because of that. right there, I think. He's really good. I just think if you're only using two healers, Adam and Mantis are better. But if you want to go solo tank, if you're doing a solo tank team with Groot, then running Rocket as well is really good because that makes your Groot a little tankier. And three supports have Rocket pocket the Groot, and then you can run Adam and Mantis who both have really high damage as well. I think that's probably the situation I'm going to see that the most for Rocket. Thor's a tough one because I think if it weren't for how insane Venom's shield ability would be, Thor's shield ability would also be viewed as insanely busted, but it's just not as good as Venom's. So I think I lied earlier when I said Iron Man's top of A. I think Thor's going to be top of A. Thor's good. I don't think Thor's better than Magneto though. Let's put him right there. Um, A tier is big in this game. There's a lot of characters that are going to be really effective. Um, yeah, like Thor's really good. He's got good damage. He's got incredible survivability if you're spamming out those moves as quickly as you can. I just think that sometimes you're going to be in a match where their damage is just too high and you can't outshield that. And the goodest boy, I would put him top of S, but he deserves his own tier. Um, the goodest boy tier. Uh, but as far as competitive viability goes, top of B. Not much else to say about that. He has the highest burst healing in the game, but not a lot of utility. I think he's good. All right, and that is the Marvel Rivals closed beta tier list. I think if we're looking at what teams you're going to see a lot of, you're going to see a lot of Venom. You're probably going to see teams with Venom, Magneto, uh, Scarlet Witch, Punisher, Mantis Atom. You're going to see a lot of that. You might see a lot of Mantis Atom, Rocket, Groot, uh, and then probably Punisher if you're running Rocket, and literally any other DPS. Probably no more on that team. But I think the other thing is this is mainly based on characters' individual strengths, uh, team ups somewhat included, but I think a lot of characters will see more play than they deserve to see just because of the way that team ups work, and I think that's great for the game. So I'm excited to see more of that. Uh, with that, I think I have time to get in a few more Marvel Rivals games.